Hi, my name is Harry Phillips, and I'm the author of When the Kingdom Comes: From Global Chaos to Eden. Thank you for watching my video, and would like to remind you, if you like what you see in this video, please subscribe. If you really have enjoyed it and think that I have wonderful things to share, then share this with a friend and pass this along. In my last video, I gave a rather lengthy introduction to myself, and also began to talk a little bit about why the tribulation, and the idea that the tribulation in Scripture is a 7-year period of time that follows the rapture of the church. And in that 7-year period of time, God is going to bring a tremendous amount of chaos to the earth. He's going to bring a lot of trials, a lot of testing, and He's going to pour out His wrath on the inhabitants of the earth. But the whole idea is not just to get mad and to torment human beings, but the idea is that the people who will be left on the earth after the rapture will have 7 years in which to make up their mind, and the choice will be simple: either follow Antichrist or come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ and cast your lot in with God and His future plans. Now, there's never been a period of time like this in all of human history, because you see, in human history, people are born and die at a different rate, but God has never demanded for the entire population of the earth to make a decision. But it's important that this happens at this period of time, because in the kingdom, only believers who survive the tribulation will enter into the kingdom. Now, you and I will be in the kingdom as glorified saints, but we're talking about human beings who will be alive at the end of the tribulation. They are the ones who are going to enter the kingdom. They're the ones who are going to marry, have families, raise kids, and repopulate the earth under the leadership of Jesus Christ, who will be not only King of Israel, but He will be King of kings and Lord of lords. He will be King of all of the earth, and He will rule and reign on this earth for 1,000 years. So the tribulation becomes a period of time in which to draw a line in the sand. And in that period of time, the people will be separated. Either you've decided for the Antichrist and follow him, or you've decided for God and come to saving knowledge of Jesus Christ through the gospel, and are waiting for the return at the end of the 7 years of tribulation. So that's a brief overview of why the tribulation. Why is it part of God's plan? Well, without all of the pressure, people normally won't make a decision. The church age has been moving along at a clip, and I can remember coming to Christ in 1970 in April as a senior in high school, and tremendous time of revival, meaning that the gospel was moving throughout society. A lot of people were getting saved. A lot of people were open to hearing about Jesus Christ, and a lot of hippies got saved. A lot of flower children got saved, and the Jesus movement started in the late 60s and through the early 70s. A tremendous time of the gospel going through this country. And I remember those days. Now here we are some 50 years later, and people just are not as interested in the gospel. In fact, the whole world has become very calloused, not just people in the United States. So that's what we have here. Something else I thought that would probably help too, when you look at the things in Revelation, if you've ever sat in a Bible class on Revelation, You probably were taken by the fact that it's an awful lot of detail. And indeed, if people who teach Revelation decide they're going to teach all the details, and they're going to teach all about the seven seal judgments and what order they come in, and then they're going to talk about the seven trumpet judgments and what order they come in, and they're going to talk about the seven bowl judgments and what order that comes in. And I would agree with you that after all of that detail, it's really hard to figure out what in the world's going on. But over all these years of looking in the scriptures and studying, one thing has really helped me, and that's the idea that before you go to the detail, it's important to have a basic overview. And I mean a very basic overview. And that's why I thought I would start out these discussions with the idea that if the tribulation is simply a period of time to get the human race to make a decision, then that would make sense. In fact, all of the things in Revelation can begin to fall into line. It's kind of like differential equations. When I was in college and I took differential equations, it's really hard. And I know if somebody were to teach a novice what differential equations are, or calculus, or even algebra, you might find it daunting and hard to grasp. But in the end, all mathematics can simply be boiled down to addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And with those four basic elements, you can learn all of the rest in time, because you see, all of mathematics is built pretty much out of those four fundamentals. So if you learn those, you can learn algebra. And from algebra, you can learn calculus. From calculus, you can learn differential equations. But you've got to start with the simple stuff and work to the more complex. And I think same thing's true in Revelation. I think it really helps if we start with the simple before moving to the complex. Now, I'm not going to teach Revelation. I think a lot of the things in Revelation are probably for the people who will be in the tribulation. And I think they are the ones who will probably make the most sense out of everything there. But I think it could really help to just simply think of a few of the things in very general terms. And the first time I looked at Revelation and saw those seven seals, I honestly thought they looked like a table of contents. That this was something that God was going to put into the 7-year period of time. You have the four horsemen, and you have the death, the plagues, you have all of the things that are happening, just kind of a general overview. And then when you come to the seven trumpets judgments, why, trumpets are pretty easy to understand. They're always a blast on the trumpet is always a warning that judgment is about to fall. And I think that's pretty easy to just take that at its simplest level, and to realize that the things in Revelation are a warning of God's judgment and wrath. But when you come to the bowls, that's always threw me for many, many, many years. And one year I was studying in the Old Testament, and I was noticing that the priests had this big laver of water, and they would wash all of the sacrifice, and they went through a lot of ceremonial washings and a lot of washings. And I caught a phrase in the Old Testament that talked about the waters of separation, and the idea that water would separate the dirt and make it clean. And when I thought about the seven bowl judgments, I realized maybe in its simplest view to start understanding is to realize that all of the plagues and all of the things that God's going to do in the tribulation is going to have a twofold effect. It'll either be the sounding of a trumpet, a warning of God's wrath, or it'll be the very things that will cause some people to come to God. And they will separate themselves like waters of separation. And those very trials and the very plagues that come onto the earth will be the thing that will drive some people to come to God. So you see, the plagues and the judgments, all those things have a dual purpose. They're God's wrath poured out on the ungodly, and for those who turn, it may be that that's the pressure that it takes for some people to come to God, and they will find the cleansing. They will find the redemption. And if they make it through to the end of the tribulation, they will find themselves in the kingdom. Of course, if they're martyred, they're going to find themselves in the kingdom anyway, as glorified saints. So either way, they're going to be in the kingdom. But how marvelous would it be to make it into the kingdom as a human being, and to live for 1,000 years, and probably have hundreds of kids, and live in a world of righteousness. Well, that's what we're going to talk about in the future episodes. We're going to take bits and pieces from the book. But in the next video, what I want to talk about is the idea that if Antichrist is going to garner a tremendous amount of support from the population of the earth, what percentage of the earth's population do you think will follow him? Do you think he'll have 51% following of the earth? Do you think he'll have 60% people following him? Or 70%? Or 80%? Or more? And with the people that don't follow him, how many of them do you think will become Christians? You see, next time, in the next video, I'm going to take out a calculator and we're going to run some numbers. And I think when we get done, you're going to be astounded and amazed to see what's going to come out at the end of the tribulation. And we're going to look at that next time. And in coming episodes, we're going to talk about the kingdom, the marvelous kingdom that's coming, because I've spent many years studying and putting the pieces together. So I would encourage you to buy the book. You can get the ebook. You can get it on Amazon.com, or you can go to my website at www.whenthekingdomcomes.com, and the book is available there as well. And I blog on that website. Every Tuesday, I put down my thoughts. I advise you to go ahead and sign up for that, and you'll get my blog on a weekly basis. So until next time, I would just simply like to say I'll see you here, there, or in the air.